Welcome back to the Membership Machine Show. This is episode 56. This is going to be a special episode. We're going to be delving in the world of BuddyBoss. It's probably going to be a micro series of about 3 shows. This one we decided to turn into a podcast. The other shows you'll be able to see on the WP-Tonic YouTube channel. I've got a great co-host for this particular show. I've got Haroon. Haroon is an expert of everything BuddyBoss, and he helps the WP-Tonic team with some of our larger projects. So I'm going to introduce Haroon. Haroon, would you like to quickly introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers?
Certainly. Thank you, Jonathan. And hi, everyone. I've been working in the tech ecosystem for around more than 2 decades and within the WordPress ecosystem for around a decade and a half. And during this time, I've worked with pretty much every notable tool out there and built some very complex solutions that previously many wouldn't think WordPress was capable of building. And one of them is a complete social networking site. Generally, when you talk about WordPress, building a social network doesn't come to mind, but that's what we're going to tackle in today's session using BuddyBoss.
Right. So it should be a great show. We're going to go into the kind of history of BuddyBoss. It's in 2 parts. It's a theme and a platform. It comes with a plugin and a theme. We're going to be covering every aspect of it in this show. And like I say, there'll be a couple of additional shows where we go into even more detail. But before we go into the meat and potatoes of this great show, I've got a couple messages from our major sponsors. We will be back in a few moments, folks.
Tired of hosting providers that can't handle high traffic loads? Conversio is here to help. Our platform can handle any amount of traffic, all without slowing down or crashing. With immediate Slack support, performance optimization, and a team that thrives on resolving technical challenges, your e-commerce business is in safe hands. Learn more about Conversio at conversio.com.
Coming back, folks, I also want to point out we've got a sponsor for the month. We've got a new sponsor, and it's OmiSend. OmiSend is a text platform. They've got a big following in Shopify, in the world of Shopify, but they've just built a WordPress plugin. If you're looking to send out text messages on your WooCommerce or membership website, their service could be something you should look at. They're offering a special deal for the WP-Tonic and Membership Machine Show crowd. For the first 3 months, you'll get 30% off. You find this offer and all the offers, plus a curated list of the best WordPress plugins and services by going over to wp-tonic.com/deals. wp-tonic.com/deals, and you'll find all the goodies there, my beloved tribe. What more could you ask for? Probably a lot more, but that's all you're going to get on that page. So, well, you should laugh, Haroon. That was quite a good one. But there we go. Maybe he's not in the mood to. Oh, he's grinning there. I'll soon change that. So shall we start with a brief history of what BuddyBoss is? I know it's been around for about 5 or 6 years. It was based on BuddyPress, which was open source project that's still going, but for a few years it was it seemed to be semi-orphaned. It wasn't really going anywhere or being developed. And then I think the BuddyBoss team took over to some extent BuddyPress, and they have morphed it into BuddyBoss. Maybe you can give your spin about this, Haroon.
Certainly. So yes, BuddyBoss, well, the company behind BuddyBoss, initially they were developing themes on the BuddyPress platform. So they come from a background of working with BuddyPress for several years. They built several themes, and the most popular of their BuddyPress themes was Boss theme. So what BuddyPress is, let me in fact share my screen. Just a second.
Yeah, but so it was basically a theme that was developed on the BuddyPress
Yes.
ecosystem, and
Yes.
then it developed into its own independent offering, basically.
Yes. So BuddyPress was, or rather still is, a social networking system built on WordPress, and it's a free and open source plugin. And the team behind WordPress, the WordPress.org development team, is also heavily involved in the BuddyBoss project. But the pace of development was rather slow, and there were lots of features often requested by users that were available as code snippets here and there, and some clunky third-party plugins that you'd have to add and tweak to get that sort of functionality. So while BuddyPress gave you the functionality, basic functionality of social networking, it didn't give you any particular layout to go with. It just gave you the very bare bones user interface elements, and then it was on your theme to actually add all the styling, to add all the visual panache to it, to actually make it look like a good social networking website. And then, in addition to BuddyPress, there was also BBPress. Rather, there is also BBPress, which is a bulletin board system. And BuddyPress and BBPress work well together, but they're not one cohesive unit.
No, and the BuddyBoss team have kind of unified these two quasi-separate platforms into one coherent package, haven't they?
Yeah, what they did was they first tried to see if they could, as contributors to the BuddyPress and BBPress plugins, if they could take it in the direction that they and their users, because they were the sellers of the most popular BuddyPress theme out there. So if they could get the direction of these two plugins the way they wanted, but things didn't work out that way. There were lots of conflicts. So they decided to fork the BuddyPress platform and the BBPress platform, and the forks were merged into one, and they called it the BuddyBoss platform. And on top of it, they added some pro features. Firstly, they added some free features that were some of their plugins, as well as several third-party plugins that many people used on their BuddyPress sites. So the most popular plugins were integrated into that fork, and then there were some plugins that were integrated in the pro version of that fork. So there's the basic BuddyBoss platform, then there's BuddyBoss Platform Pro plugin, which you don't need, but it's nice to have.
Well, yeah, this is because I think they got some criticism from the kind of WordPress open source community when they decided to fork, which I personally felt was extremely unfair myself. I thought it was much about anything. They were totally in their rights to fork it, and I could actually understand why they made that decision. And you can't have somebody actually make some money from something, can you? But I could understand, because it seemed that both BBPress and Buddy, I forgot. I always start saying BuddyPress. They were kind of semi-orphanized. There just wasn't any real kind of drive in to improve it at all.
Yes.
Now, I've got two quick sub questions before we go on to question 2 that was on our agreed list. I think the two, and they caused me some confusion. So I was hoping, because you're more of an expert on this than me in some ways, is number one, their solution, their BuddyBoss solution, is in two parts. You have the theme and you have the plugin, and the plugin is free, isn't it? I think, is that correct? But the theme isn't. You have to pay the pro, and this is totally back to front for me. I understand it because of the history. I understand it a bit more based on the historic outline that you gave us, because I didn't actually know that they started off providing a commercial theme. So that information that you've given us kind of, but it's still back to front for me, Haroon, because functionality should be in the plugin and the themes should be the design elements.
Yes.
But they've got functionality in the theme to some degree mixed up with the plugin. Is that making sense?
So they've got all the functionality you need for the backend parts of the social networking solution that they built using BuddyPress and BBPress. Social networking and forums solution, bulletin board solution is there in the free plugin, the free BuddyBoss platform. But then you can either use the free BuddyBoss platform and build your own theme on top of it, which does all the styling, which makes everything look good, or you can use their theme. So, I mean, I believe it's perfectly fair.
So I was being unfair there. I was in a miscomprehension.
Although they've got some pro functionality in the theme, but that's not the sort of functionality that would make the platform unfunctional or any less functional without it. It's
so
I'm
kind of wrong, but I'm kind of right. That's what you're trying to point out.
It's not like deal breaker functionality, just the way they've got BuddyBoss Platform Pro plugin as well. So that adds some pro features to the platform as a plugin, which could also be used with any theme of your choice. So that pro plugins functionality is paid and the themes functionality is paid, but everything basic that you need, which is way beyond what BBPress and BuddyPress combined offer. It has lots of other features added to it. That's available for free if you want to build your own theme on top of it.
So to recap, the styling is only in the theme, but because it's a hybrid system and some of the styling elements kind of relate to the functionality of how the platform works, you can let me off with my original statement because there is some, but then you've got the basic functionality, which is in the free plugin, but they've got a pro version that adds some additional functionality. But in the free version, you're still getting a bit of a bargain because they've added on top of BuddyPress's functionality. So that, right. The second thing that causes me confusion is they have this theme and they used to provide other themes but they have removed those, or they're buried on the website documentation. So they're only offering one theme, and then people straight away says, well, I want to change the look. But there's other people out there, third-party coding shops and plugin providers that provide additional functionality for BuddyBoss that are offering their own themes on top of BuddyBoss. But I thought you got BuddyBoss, and then the theme is a child theme, and you can't have two child themes on top of one another. And then in their own documentation, they say if you want a customized home page, you're better off utilizing a page builder like Elementor and making a template and turning in. So trying to explain this to the average person is a bit of a nightmare. Am I totally got this wrong, or is it a little bit confusing?
So it's like many modern themes these days are compatible with page builders to let you, firstly, they give you a lot of customization options in the theme itself, so you can make it look different. It doesn't just look like any other installation of the same theme. And secondly, they're compatible with popular page builders like Elementor, and they give you widgets for Elementor as well, so that if you want to build something custom, the theme gives you all the design elements, all the widgets. You use your page builder to place them wherever you want, build the layout you want. So that's how it works. And secondly, the use of the BuddyBoss child theme is not mandatory. You can just use the BuddyBoss parent theme and be fine with it. If you're not going to do any child theme level custom work, like add code snippets to the child theme and all. But from a third party, if you want to buy a paid child theme of BuddyBoss, You can install that instead of the child theme that BuddyBoss provides and not have to do any customizations, use it with the customizations that it comes with. So yeah, that's a way to go, but you don't really have to. If you're comfortable with the Elementor as a page builder, like I've built BuddyBoss sites where I only utilized BuddyBoss themes widgets. I built every single page, every single template using Elementor because I wanted that sort of flexibility. And it looked nothing like the demo on the BuddyBoss website. I had to use custom CSS in some places, but for most part, I could style it reasonably enough to make it look unique.
Well, I think you just touched on the other thing that, you know, this ain't coming from me. I'm just the kind of mouthpiece of a lot of one-to-one consultations with average people, Haroon. And this is, they go to the BuddyBoss website and it's got that demo site and it's got that look, that kind of quasi Facebook group.
Yes.
But when they and they come to me because they've already purchased the theme and the Pro plugin, and then they set it up and it doesn't look anything like the demo, and that's when they start getting hot and bothered, as I would say, Haroon. That's when they all hackles. So so at WP-Tonic, we give them a demo. We give them a starter look that looks like the demo because we were getting some heat back ourselves. We were getting complaints. I was getting slightly hot and bothered people on our hosting solution because it wasn't looking. But then we said, well, if you want it, and then they would say straight away, well, we want that look, but we want a custom homepage, or we want a custom about us page. And I just say, well, we either supply Elementor or we give you Cadence, and you should be able to knock up and you'll be happy. Yeah. So we weren't too far, but can you see, would you agree that the way things have ended up, it does cause a bit of confusion for the average non-WordPress expert, doesn't it?
So I would not blame BuddyBoss for that because it's a limitation on the users. And it's their expectations aren't aligned with reality if they expect that they're just going to install the theme and it's going to give them a ready site just like the demo. Because having that sort of a ready site takes a lot more than just installing a zip file. It has to have all of that same content that's there in the demo. And their demo has some third-party plugin integrations to showcase, like their LearnDash integration. So you have to have LearnDash installed. And they show WooCommerce integration in their demo. You have to have WooCommerce installed, same kind of products with same kind of imagery imported, and some configuration in the back end to make everything work together. For an expert who's worked with BuddyBoss, going with a blank WordPress install to something that looks exactly like the demo is maybe 1 to 2 hours job, even if they do it lazily.
But we decided to give it to them because it seemed to kind of satisfied their initial cravings, if you know what I mean. Yes. What about the theme? Because obviously, I totally agree with you. If you know something about WordPress, being able to knock up a home page or some other pages using Elementor or some other page builder isn't a problem. But what about these other because there are some providers that are providing themes for BuddyBoss, you know, independently. What's your experience with some of these third party? Because I'm a bit queasy about that because you don't want to recommend something unless you've used it yourself, because if it muffs everything up, you're the one that's going to get the blame, aren't you?
Agreed. So I haven't used a single one of those because I've built BuddyBoss child themes for my clients. So like wherever there's a client need where they need something custom, then I build the child theme on top of the main BuddyBoss theme. And I'm sure there may be third-party providers out there who have built quality third-party child themes for BuddyBoss. I just can't vouch for any because I've never had the occasion where I needed one. Because mostly my clients, they consult with me to determine what's required. And since I'm going to build all of their custom functionality, I'd rather build it for them the way I see fit rather than relying on a child theme of a third party that may or may not be coded the right way.
Yeah, the way I handle it is when I give a consultancy call, a chat, as I say, I tell them about, we set it up like the demo, and then you can use Elementor or Cadence, whatever you want to use, right? But then if they're not satisfied that, we've got a list of third-party themes, and I say, well, here's a list. We're not endorsing any of them. Go over and have a look, because we can't endorse them, and we won't endorse them because we've not tried them, so we don't know. But I think we've spent almost 15 minutes on this, but I think it was worthwhile because I would say it's a fantastic platform, but it's just these two areas that's caused me very complicated discussions with individuals, and I just hoped that I wouldn't have to have those discussions, but it is what it is. So let's go on to point 2. What do you see as the best uses of the BuddyBoss platform?
First and foremost, any niche social media networks. For example, you have, let's say, among quite a few platforms that I've worked on for like clients that I've worked for, one was a community of expatriate British expats all around the globe. So that platform was
those bloody imperialists. You worked for those bloody imperialists there, Runo. How could you do it?
And then another one of my biggest projects, unfortunately, they had to shut down because they couldn't run the business. But that was my biggest BuddyBoss build. And I feel sad every time I think about it not being there, because that would have been a star project to showcase on my portfolio. It had everything. So that was for an intimate health and wellness sort of community. Mm-hmm. And they had the base social networking features. Then they had a podcast integrated into it, and the podcast was entirely self-hosted on WordPress using seriously simple podcasting, and being stored on Castos, which is a third-party podcasting platform. And then there were courses in it using LearnDash. There was a swag shop using WooCommerce. There was a directory structure built using ACF Pro, which had experts, which were professionals working in the field, companies, and brands. So there was that. And there were relationships between all of these content types, so that if you're viewing a podcast episode, below it, you would see rows of related content from brands, from companies, from the e-commerce store, from experts, like related experts and all. And that was done using bidirectional relationships in ACF. So the sky is the limit. Oh, and there was a CRM system in the back end. And the home page would show them a Netflix-like stream of content tailored to them, because when they'd sign up, we had a very complex Gravity Forms form, which took a lot of information from the user, then mapped that information to the back end of categories that we had for the blog posts and for podcasts and for products and whatnot. So they'd see all of the products and the posts and the content from the categories that they were interested in on their homepage, which was built using Elementor. There was a lot going on, but it was built very cohesively. It felt like something that you would, at first thought, think WordPress isn't capable of building. But there you go. That's one of the projects that I did. And then, even if you have just a LearnDash site, an e-learning site, you don't need the social networking features. You just need the e-commerce features. The e-learning features, LMS features, and maybe the bulletin board features. So you could just not enable the e-learning feature, not enable the social networkings of BuddyBoss theme, still install it and use it as an excellent theme for the LearnDash platform, and use the BBPress based forum features if you want, or use LearnDash's own built-in forum features if you want. So it's a pretty good front end for LearnDash as well.
Yeah, I think you've highlighted it's the only platform that really gives you true digital sovereignty. The two SaaS leaders, which we're going to discuss in a future episode of this micro series, Mighty Networks and Circle, they couldn't do anything like what you've just outlined.
Oh,
you
yes.
know, I think based on my experience, one of the other things, which is good news for WP-Tonic, the other thing that really causes aggravation around BuddyBoss is people trying to host it on totally inappropriate hosting solutions, because I see its requirements are not outlandish, because some people gives it a bad deal, but the reality is it's doing a lot in the background, and its requirements are very similar to WooCommerce to some extent, and trying to run a WooCommerce website beyond, yeah, it's like
way beyond WooCommerce.
you would say way beyond. I was looking at a medium level WooCommerce installation. You know, that's what I was looking at. But
for the same sort of traffic, I would say BuddyBoss install, just the basic BuddyBoss install without a lot of integrations, would, for the same level of traffic, require 3x to 4x resources compared to a WooCommerce install with the same level of traffic, because not all of the users browsing your WooCommerce site would be logged in customers. A lot of them would be served cached pages. But with your BuddyBoss platform, pretty much every user using the actual system, not just on the landing pages where they sign up, but using the actual system, cannot be served cached pages because they're logged in
well,
a very
you
dynamic
could try
system.
that, but that's what causes the problem, isn't it? Because that, you know, but you could say that about LearnDash or LifterLMS or any learning management system. It's the same scenario, isn't it?
The primary reason why that client's, well, one of the primary reasons why that client that I just spoke of, their site, their business didn't take off, was despite a lot of insistence from my end that they should spend a few $100s a month in hosting. They were not willing to at the start. And that was one of the reasons why when they launched in alpha and beta stage, the users just wouldn't stick around because it was so slow. And I mean, I couldn't pay out of my own pocket for moving them to a faster host.
You mean they were hosting with GoDaddy, the big daddy?
No. I was managing their hosting stack as well, but they were paying the price of the servers, the VPS on DigitalOcean, and they weren't willing to upgrade to a
You're
higher...
upsetting me now, Haroon. You didn't have to swear, did you? But we have to control him, folks. You should be saying, if only they'd gone on to WP-Tonic. That's what you should be saying, Haroon.
Of course,
but being your friend, even though sometimes you exacerbated me, I still classify you with a warmness in my heart. But you know, please do not swear on the show, please. Or would we go? I think it's a good spot for us to have our mid-break, and then I can tick off Haroon in private. No, I'm not going to do that. We're going to go for our mid-break, folks, and when we come back, we will be delving more in this fabulous platform that gives you a lot of digital ownership. We love it. We will be back in a few moments, folks. Coming back, we've been delving, pulling the curtain, looking at the good, the bad, and the ugly of BuddyBoss. But we love it though. If it's the right tool for you at the right time, we've got no problems in recommending it. But before we delve deeper, I just want to point out, if you're looking to host, have a look at WP-Tonic. We provide really optimized hosting, but a lot more. We provide a suite of plugins, fully licensed, that will enable you not only to host a BuddyBoss website, but do digital marketing, email, every aspect of running a membership community website on WordPress. We're the only hosting company that provides these suite of not only fully licensed plugins, but we also provide a high level of email marketing functionality inbuilt into our plans. We're the only people that provide that. I think we're the best value on the market if you're looking to build a membership community website on WordPress. And I can say that with total confidence. So if that sounds interesting, go over to WP-Tonic, and you can also book a chat with me. What more could you ask for? Probably a lot more, but that's all I'm going to offer in this particular plug. So off we go. I've forgiven Haroon for his indiscretion in the first half of the show, as you do with friends. You give them a bit of laxity. So on we go. Please do not do that again, please. All right, on we go. So, a lot, not solely, but a lot of times people are looking to utilize BuddyBoss with the leading learning management system. I've listed 3, but at WP-Tonic, we only really work with LifterLMS or LearnDash. TutorLMS, fantastic people, but we got to stop somewhere, and we've decided that it's LearnDash or LifterLMS. This is another conversation because people say, which one should I choose? And I say, well, either work, choose your poison. And then they always bring up the BuddyBoss app. And I say, well, if you're thinking of going down that route, I think it's, you might lean to LearnDash, because I am correct that the BuddyBoss app only works with LearnDash at the present moment, or am I incorrect about that?
Till the last time I checked, that was the case. I don't know if that has changed yet, but yes, it works brilliantly with LearnDash. Not sure about LifterLMS, or I don't think it works at all with Tutor, but I don't think it works with Lifter either.
No, I think there's a couple of developers that offer a solution around that, but I mean natively.
Natively, it doesn't. Yeah.
We do. We have got the marketing director of BuddyBoss commented on our. I'm getting a bit nervous because I don't want to upset them, but he seems friendly, Graham. But there we go. You have to come on the show for an interview, Graham. So that's the thing, and I think the app is great value, isn't it? I don't want to go too much because I think we can have a whole show about the app, couldn't we? Really, couldn't we?
Oh yes.
But I think the only thing that the remark is, I think at the right stage of your membership community business, I think looking at our app is a great decision. But I get a lot of people that haven't even built their community yet, and they're thinking of an app. And I try and advise them, but it normally doesn't work because they're kind of semi-fixated about it. And you can't make a horse drink the water if it doesn't want the water, can you? So I've learned that. I'm an old dog, see, Haroon. They just get kind of fixated about it, and but on the other hand, I don't want to be negative because I think at the right stage, I think what they're offering is fantastic value. What would you say, Haroon?
Oh, I agree. Absolutely fantastic value. You can't, like, if you want to invest in a custom app for a social networking site, it's going to run you into like probably mid 5-figure USD would be a good starting estimate. But like, I mean, the sky's the limit. So what BuddyBoss
you
gives
think
you
at least between 10 and 20,000 for a custom
more like, I mean, depends on who you get it done from, but like I'd say more like mid 5 figures, like 40, 50, 60. Yeah.
Yeah, probably
40,
right.
50, 60 grand would be more like, depending on the sort of functionality you want. But like, if you want something that rivals the BuddyBoss app, then yeah, you're talking that sort of investment. But
because
again,
BuddyBoss and Circle provide something on their lower plans, but it's not white labeled. It has all their branding all over it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's a bit of a cheat. It's not, you're just renting that off them. To, if you want a truly custom with your branding on, you got to ask them. And I heard 30, 40, 50,000 they're asking. He's doing hand signals towards me. You can't understand we're doing a podcast as well here. But that's so. What
we
would
have
you?
To,
are
we
you
have
saying?
To clarify. Sorry, we have to clarify what sort of hand signals I was doing so that your audience doesn't get confused. So I was just making hand signals of throwing away money.
$100 notes just floating away.
Floating away $100 notes.
Yeah. A lot of them. Put it that way, listeners and viewers.
Yes.
So how do you do you because I really love LifterLMS, Chris and the team. Chris is a personal friend. I love the LearnDash people as well. They've always been nice to me. But do you lean to LearnDash really when they're asking you to choose which learning management system?
So if I personally have to choose, I mean, it's not discrimination against one or the other. They're both excellent platforms. They've been around for a while, and you really can't go wrong with either. But for me personally, it's just I'm more used to LearnDash, so it's just my no-brainer pick. I just pick LearnDash most of the time, and not just for BuddyBoss builds, for just any LMS build. I'm just way more efficient at working with LearnDash because I've worked with it so much. But someone else, some other professional might feel the same about LifterLMS, and they wouldn't be wrong either.
I think that's a totally logical answer because people say, because everything they offer a lot. The main difference was that LifterLMS, I just see it as the more simplistic one if you're not going to go down the WooCommerce route because it has inbuilt membership functionality. LearnDash did, but it was very clunky and still is, and they've introduced their own plugin, a membership plugin, which I understand why they've done it, but I think but on the other hand, I think there's mature membership plugins out there anyway. I think it's all got a little bit even more confusing.
I'd pick a membership plugin for the membership part and LearnDash for the LMS part, not for the membership part.
Well, if they're not going to go with Lifter, which is the simplest route, and then when you grow to certain, you just add the WooCommerce element to it. If they insist on LearnDash, and they want to, we try and steer them the WooCommerce if you want to do upsells, downsells, and that, it integrates with some other fantastic WordPress solutions that gives you that functionality. But everybody's got their different position. So it's really, I think, in your own perspective, it's going to be LearnDash with BuddyBoss. Yep,
absolutely.
Right. On to the next one. Some of the leading plugins. I think we touched WooCommerce. I think WooCommerce works really well with BuddyBoss, with LearnDash. Would you agree with that?
Sorry, I was reading a comment and I missed your question. My bad.
You're not listening to me, Haroon, like most people. Most people do not listen to me. I won't be hurt.
I was reading Graham's comments and I totally missed that question. My apologies.
Are you saying that Graham makes more sense than I do? We better show the people. Oh yeah, you're saying about
this was the one I was reading as well.
So concentrate, Haroon. I know it's getting late for you. So on to the next thing. Leading third-party add-ons. There's a lot of them, but I would say that WooCommerce integrates. If you're looking at BuddyBoss with LearnDash, WooCommerce integrates really well, doesn't it?
Oh, brilliantly and beautifully, if I may say so. Like if you want a pretty WooCommerce site or a pretty LearnDash or LifterLMS site out of the box. Like you install BuddyBoss platform, you install BuddyBoss theme, you install WooCommerce, you install LearnDash or LifterLMS, and there you have it. It's pretty out of the box. You don't need to have to work to make it pretty. So I mean, one of the prettiest implementations of a WooCommerce site or a LearnDash course site, you can just comfortably go with the BuddyBoss theme. And they've done a brilliant job at making, because you rarely see WooCommerce websites out of the box that are that pretty. You have to install lots of plugins, use several, well, not necessarily install lots of plugins. You often use lots of CSS to just make it look the way you want. And with this, it's out of the box, very pretty.
Well, with membership, they want a one page. We tend to utilize click flows for that. That kind of
cart flows, right?
Pardon? Cart flows, yes.
Cart flows, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you. I'm getting old. I get confused. So there's still life in me. So, oh God, it's like a donkey, isn't it, listeners of yours? So, but you've got to remember all these names, folks. But yeah, people looking for a one-page solution with upsells, downsells functionality if they're getting a bit more sophisticated. And this combination with cart flows can offer that with digital sovereignty. I know like Thrive carts and Sand carts and this cart and the other cart, and some of them have got lifetime deals and they're popular, but I get a bit queasy when you're handing over your checkout to a totally SaaS cloud-based third-party solution. I do not think that is a great idea, and it's totally unnecessary as well. Because as Haroon pointed out earlier in the conversation, you're going to need decent hosting. I think one of the things that I get pushed back when I say, well, we just install WooCommerce and it's lovely, blah, blah. They say, here's all the propaganda about what a pain in the backside WooCommerce is. And what they don't understand is in this scenario, we're only utilizing WooCommerce as a kind of engine. A lot of the problems with WooCommerce is updates and your product category pages, and that get a bit screwed up a bit. Well, you're not going to have that. We're just using it as a back-end engine. So, and you're going to need decent hosting anyway. If you're going to combine LearnDash with BuddyBoss, you need something decent. So it's not going to add to the weight of the website considerably anyway. Would you agree with what I just outlined?
I agree. I completely agree. 100%.
Right, you keep saying it, Haroon. I know you made that mistake in the first half, but you're getting into my good books still. Another thing that's really popular is translations. We're in the age of AI. This is there's a number of it's a big strength in WordPress. The best value, and we offer it as part of our package at WP-Tonic. And I forgot the leading one, but we think this is with, I forgot the third, we don't use Google, we provide it with a third party that does the translation, but it works with TranslatePress. We really like TranslatePress, TranslatePress, what they're offering, and we offer that as a part of our bundle. But it's a strong part of this that some of the SaaS solutions can't offer you, this ability for translation, having your community website in multiple languages, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Because the way WordPress gives you flexibility with translations, like not just with one solution, you could use TranslatePress, you could use WPML, which is a big pain to use often. But hey, I mean, at times that's the only thing that works. And then there's Polylang, which is also pretty good. So WordPress gives you flexibility of choice. And then, I mean, you build your translations your way rather than just relying on clunky, very basic and limited language translations provided by those third-party platforms. So yeah, major point in building your own self-hosted community using WordPress and something like BuddyBoss.
And then gamification. GamiPress is the leader in this. Can
Yes.
be, I think in the right circumstances, it works well, but it can also, I think a couple of years ago, it was pushed a bit too hard, but on the other hand, it can't be dismissed. And I think it works quite well with the platform that we've been outlining. Would you agree with that?
Both GamiPress and MyCred, which is also another really good gamification solution, both of them work really well with BuddyBoss. Yes.
All right. Any basic mistakes you see people, because we've got about another 15 minutes because Haroon's given us an hour of his time. He needs his cocoa and sleep. Recommended ways of setting up any tips any quick tip, any fundamental mistakes you see people regular. I think the number one mistake is buying, don't realize you need really good hosting even in the development stage. As soon as you get any members of your community, if you're really on crappy hosting, it will collapse almost straight away. I think that's any other things you see people making.
First and foremost, trying, just because BuddyBoss offers those features, trying to go all in with every feature implemented from day one. That's the biggest mistake I see them making, because every business's requirements are different and every business's resources are different. So plan the launch within the limitations of the resources you have. Don't plan with everything but the kitchen sink included on day one. And just launch with the absolute bare minimum required to get the ball rolling in terms of features. And then once your users start coming in, they start using the system, you start seeing feedback from those users, you see how they use the system, then add the features that you haven't added yet. It will allow two things that will go in your favor. Firstly, it'll reduce the cost barrier of entry. You'd be able to start off with lower resources because there's lower load on resources. Firstly. Number two, it will keep users interested. Like you'll start off with the bare basics that your community would need to run, and then they'd be excited when you tell them that we're gonna add this particular feature next month. Feature 2 is on our roadmap for like 6 months down the line. Even if you have the technical capacity of adding them on day one, don't, because your community is not gonna keep coming back, and it might even overwhelm them if you add everything on day one. So plan it carefully, talk to a consultant, talk to an organization like WP-Tonic, or talk to me, either of us, Jonathan, me. We could help you plan out your build based on your business requirements, because we don't just understand the technical components. We've been in business for a while. We've seen several businesses implement lots of these features, and we've implemented it for several businesses. So we know the business side as well, and we know what would make more sense for your business as well in several circumstances.
Yeah, you must have been listening to some of my other podcasts, because you just he's in my good books now. He had a bit of a rough stage in the first half, but now he's in my good books. Because I use this term from the startup community. I nicked it, like all good ideas. I have no originality, listeners and viewers. I'm like Picasso. I just steal. Basically, I got it from another podcast, and they were talking about them in the startup world, the minimum viable product. And I'd say what you should be looking at is the minimum viable membership and the minimum viable community solution. Because like what you just said, getting that feedback from your students. I've done that with WP-Tonic and another business that I run. You add, there's been some times where I've added key functionality and I thought my customer base would just love it. And I've spent a lot of energy and time getting it built, or getting the copy written, or getting a copywriter. And I thought it was fantastic, and I've published it, and crickets. No, None of the customers are interested. Nobody's interested. It was all in my own mind, and the people that I was trying to sell it to had absolutely no interest. And you can do that with a community site with BuddyBoss or a membership. You can build all this extra functionality, and the bits you thought that they would love, they got absolutely no interest. And the bits that you never thought they would really love, they love. And then you've got to spend even more money building out those bits, haven't you?
Yes, yes.
So that's
Seen
why
this happen way more frequently than most people would assume.
Yeah. So you need that feedback loop of getting feedback about the parts of your membership, your community website, your BuddyBoss website, that the community, and each community, and the other fact is you can't base it on other communities because each community is its own thing. It has its own vibe, doesn't it?
Yeah. So you should have, like, no matter whether it's a community site, or it's just your business website or anything you want to build, there's this paradigm called human-centered design. It's also called design thinking. So I've taught human-centered design and design thinking at several workshops. So in that, you don't tackle a project with what you have in mind for it. Great, you might have a good idea about providing a solution, but maybe your problem identification and the reality of the problem that you're trying to solve, maybe they're not aligned. So do user research before you even start building. Then with every iteration, with every brick you add, with every piece of functionality you add, firstly, base it on user response and then iterate and improve and then modify it accordingly based on user feedback of those who actually use it. And they must not be other members of your organization. They must be the actual target audience, the actual users. Your mom's opinion, your brother-in-law's opinion, your best friend's opinion doesn't matter. The opinion of your audience matters. Your boss's opinion doesn't matter. The opinion of the actual user of the product, that matters. So keep that in mind.
And the thing is, the problem with SaaS platforms and Swiss Army knife solutions like Kajabi, they're fantastic. But in the end, no matter how great they are SaaS-based solutions. And there will become a moment that your users, your students, your community members will want functionality, want something, and you can't do it. There will be some stage where you're going to have to modify your business model to the platform's requirements rather than the other, which should be the other way round. The platform should adapt to your business requirements, but you can only get that with something like BuddyBoss and WordPress. You cannot get that. So I think we've covered to some extent the mobile app side of BuddyBoss. I think we can leave that to the next show and delve into that with some of the other aspects we can delve in. We've mentioned a couple of the competitors. We're going to probably do that in the second show, or that might be a third show, because the two main SaaS, I'm just going to name them. We're not going to delve. I might ask for your remark, Haroon. Would you agree the two main SaaS competitors to BuddyBoss is Mighty Networks and Circle?
And Circle, yes. Yeah. Mighty Networks and Circle in the SaaS department, and on the self-hosted WordPress site, Peepso.
Yeah, I think you just upset Graham now as well. You upset me in the first half, and now I think Graham's going to be upset with you.
But we have to talk about alternatives as well if we are to highlight the merits and demerits of any product or service.
Yeah, I'm only taking a minute. I'm sure Graham's knocking back the whiskey. I'm sure by this stage he doesn't care. Sorry, Graham, if you're still listening, but you seem the type of guy that enjoys a good whiskey. So on to the next bit, pricing. Well, I think it's a bargain, isn't it?
Oh yes, it's dirt cheap for what you're getting. It's like even if you're considering the app, then yes, it's a few grands. But
well, I could understand because I don't like anybody really, but there we go. That's just me. I'm just a miserable old age pensioner. But the BuddyBoss people, I thought they tried technically and market, but technically something really, really difficult with their BuddyBoss app. And it had some teething problems, but what do you expect? Because I think technically, but you know more about the technical, because I was an active developer, but I only pot around my own projects now. But what they were trying to do, I think, was technically was very courageous of them. And I think they've had some teething problems, but I think they're sorting them out, or have sorted them out. And I even think their app solution compared to the competitor is a bargain as well. Would you agree with that?
It is. I mean, we're talking just a few grands compared to tens of thousands of dollars. It's like it's huge bargain.
All right, he seems reasonably happy. Keep knocking. Not hiding. We're not hiding. Keep knocking the whiskey back, Graham. So that's what I would do if I was listening to this. So, BuddyBoss Support. What you've heard about their support? How good do you think their support? Now, Graham seems quite friendly, but in general, what you heard about their support?
My personal experience with support has been pretty good, and so there are players in the WordPress ecosystem who just go way out of their way to help you, even
LifterLMS. Yeah. It's ridiculous the amount of support. I think BuddyBoss, because the problem with BuddyBoss, people, we even have it at WP-Tonic because we've gone beyond the call of duty. We try and keep people happy, but so you get these people that actually think you should build a whole website for them for buying a theme, don't you?
So like several people go in accessing support with the wrong expectations. I mean, as I said, there are WordPress ecosystem developers out there who do go out of their way, and they'd get all hands on with you to try to help solve your problem. But that's no obligation of theirs. And if you go in to BuddyBoss's support with that expectation, then then you're going in with the wrong expectations. But within the scope of their support, they are very helpful. They wouldn't go, try to help you build your entire site. Of course, that's not their job. Secondly, the volume. So the sheer volume of queries that BuddyBoss would have wouldn't compare with the volume of queries those relatively smaller shops have who go out of their way to help you out with very complex solutions. But that said, I've had some trouble integrating certain type of code snippets built for BuddyPress that were no longer working with BuddyBoss. And some members of their support team helped me debug those and make them work with BuddyBoss as well, even though getting such custom code working for their platform doesn't come under this support scope. So there have been instances where they did go out of their way to some extent to help me out as well. So,
it was not only that, like I was saying to them, trying to build a fully functioning app solution on a community platform like BuddyBoss and compete at the price point. I think technically and in the business ambition side of it, it's way beyond the average. I think the only way I can compare it in complexion is something like Fluent CRM, because that's a big plugin, that's a big solution, isn't it? Something on that level, or a WooCommerce.
WooCommerce, yes.
Something like that. We're on the top end of WordPress, really, on the complexion and
like really pushing WordPress to its limits is what I'd say here.
Yeah. So you got to keep that in mind. But I think as a community with that digital ownership element, with the ability to have an app when the business model calls for it, and listening to Haroon, I think it's one of the best value platforms out there. Would you agree?
Absolutely agree.
Yeah, and Graham, you can send a check to me later on, but no, Graham.
Half to him, half to me.
All right. I thought you were going to say that. So, Haroon, let's wrap it up. What's the best way? What's the best way for people to find out more about you and what you're up to, Haroon?
So they can visit my website, HQ Raja, H for Haroon, Q my middle initial, and RAJ, hqraja.com, and contact me from my website or email me at hello@hqraja.com.
Right, and all the links to Haroon and everything else will be in the show notes, which you can find on the WP-Tonic website. We will be back next, like I say, the next two of these series will probably just be available on the WP-Tonic YouTube channel. I just wanted to do this initial as a podcast as well, so you know that they got those resources on the WP-Tonic, because we get a lot of questions around BuddyBoss, and we hope to have this mini series as a resource that answers a lot of those questions. And we will be back next week with we got a guest. I think I've got a guest for next week or the week after. And we'll see you soon, folks. Bye.